avid readers, book nerds, and casual observers, and welcome to the Read Along brought to you by the Lit Round Table. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Anna, and today we're talking about The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, and this is week 9 of this series. We have one more week before we're done with the book.
Yeah.
So, this week we read from The House of the Maker until we got to Back to the Mud, right?
Yes. Yeah. Through Old Friends.
Yes. Yep. Back to the Mud.
Quite the journey we made in these chapters.
Oh, man.
There's a lot going on here.
Yes. The first chapter is called The House of the Maker, obviously. So,
and it was
let's start there.
Like a 25-page chapter.
Yes. It's another one of those mildly annoying if you're using the audiobook chapters because it switches POVs all over the place unexpectedly.
But if you're reading the physical book, it's totally fine obvious. And no one cares.
I know, nobody cares. But it's one of those chapters again.
Yeah.
So I can't just say it's a Galacta chapter because it's not. It's Galacta, Logan, and Jezal.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
So bounces between those three.
Yeah, so multiple POVs. There's just so much. Let's just do what were your overarching takeaways? What were some big things that you noticed that were like, oh, okay, weird?
All of it. No.
That's valid. You know what? That's valid. That's too easy. That's too easy of a question.
No, I guess, I mean, really there was so much. It was really interesting to finally see what was in the Maker's house, or the House of the Maker, and to hear more of, like, Bayaz's side of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, how responsible he feels for what happened to the Maker and his daughter. First of all, we hear what happened to the Maker and his daughter, which is that they died. But that's a very condensed version. But I am still like,
I mean, it seemed like the Maker kind of got Denethor'd, you know? Like,
yeah, like he kind of went crazy.
He went flaming off of the side of the building.
He threw himself off the building. Yeah.
So yeah, I was trying to figure out, so I have in my notes, the Maker, a bad guy, ? Like, I thought that this was more of like a deity figure, but then it seems like he was just like a dude, you know?
Who kind of lost it.
Yeah, and then Bayaz ended up having to fight against him. And apparently Bayaz had other Magi friends too, and like a bunch of them died.
Yeah. I should reread the chapter like as the physical book because
I think that would...
For most of the audio, I was like, wait, what? What is happening?
That would definitely benefit you. Just because I'm not trying to be snarky, like, audiobook sounds stupid.
Well, no, because every other book you've listened to, this is the first one that you've read, except for Liza Locke Lamora.
Because that one, like in the beginning, you like couldn't do the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I listened to Dragons of Autumn Twilight though. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's some like wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yes, it's kind of like Narnia.
Yeah, or a TARDIS.
It's a TARDIS. Very like a TARDIS because
it definitely seems like it's probably bigger on the inside.
Yes, and it doesn't like hold to regular space, like because there's a whole part where they're like looking out over the city and everything is very low and small. And Jezal's like, wow, look at all those people down there. They're just like ants. And he's like feeling kind of like self-important as Jezal does. And he looks over at Galacta and he is wigging out.
Mm-hmm.
And Jezal's like, what is your deal? And Galacta goes, we didn't climb any stairs. How are we up here?
Yeah.
And then Jezal loses it again.
Yeah.
Jezal's journey in this chapter was like, I'm super sick. I can't handle this. Vomiting.
Yeah.
To, I'm on top of the world. Very quickly back down to, oh my gosh, I'm so sick. Get me out of here.
And to be fair, the vomiting initially was because of like warding script that was on the door that was making all of them sick. But So now we know like
Yeah.
why nobody had gone in there is because like if you tried to break the door down, you like puke your guts out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the key worked, and Glocta hated that the key worked, and then they're perusing inside the house of the maker. And it was I kind of imagined. Sorry, this is backtracking. We're kind of going all over the place. But in the very beginning,
Well,
when
yeah.
Glocta and everyone's trying to like cross this super narrow bridge to like get to the house of the maker, I just pictured Glocta trying to go over like the bridge of Khazad-dûm in Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes. Yes.
It's amusing to me, but yeah.
It was like the Bridge of Khazad-dûm meets the Paths of the Dead, because once they get to the door, Logan says this place is dead, and Baez is like, nah, it's fine, but don't touch anything.
Yeah, and
don't go anywhere without
and
me.
follow me, only me. Oh yeah, and then Galacta at one point asks him like, "So when did you live here?" And he was like, "Shut up." Like,
Right, quit asking me questions.
there's such a thing as too many questions. I was like, okay, so you totally lived here, but whatever.
But he also had. There's an interesting moment where Baez claims to be the doorman, not the architect, which I think is important.
Yeah, I mean, I think the maker is the architect.
Well, yeah,
But
yes, but like his point being like, I'm just here to like determine who comes in and out.
I'm the guide.
Yeah, which is very like true, I think, of what his role will be in the overall story.
So also there was some weird flathead stuff.
Yes, I'll let you elaborate on that.
So apparently flatheads were invented by the maker in the house of the maker. And
To fight against.
the world.
I thought they had a specific like to fight against the eaters, but maybe they're not related. I could have just been imagining that.
Let me double check
Because
it seemed to me like he like created the flatheads.
Oh, to fight his brother.
Oh, okay. Which his
Shanka. Sorry, I forgot I had a note written down.
Oh yeah,
Made by the
Shanka.
maker to fight his brother.
And oh, sorry, I flipped way too far back.
That's okay. While you're looking that up, Jezel like laughs at the mention of the flatheads because he's like, "Oh, they're a myth." Like,
Yeah.
whatever. That's so funny. Why are we talking about
And
that?
Logan's like, they
And
killed my
Logan-
entire family.
Yes. Logan loses it on him. He's like, "You know nothing. They are awful."
Okay. The Shanka are the maker's work also. His work. Indeed, he took clay and metal and leftover flesh and he made them. Logan stared. He made them?
Leftover flesh.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
To fight in his war against us, against the Magi, against his brother Juvens. Is that how it says it in the audiobook?
I don't remember.
Juvens? Juvens. Anyway,
Yeah,
he
that sounds right.
bred the first Shanka here and let them loose upon the world to grow, to breed, and destroy. That is their purpose. For many years after Canadius' death, we hunted them, but we couldn't catch them all. So basically, they were invented to fight against the Magi and his brother Juvens, and it seems like there was like multiple sects to like this like hierarchy of like there was the maker, and then there was Juvens, and the maker had a daughter, and they were all like children of this other being that I forget the name of too. So it's like it seems like this is almost like Pantheon-esque of like almost Greek mythology like, but they were real people.
Yeah.
Maybe they were kind of demigod status. That's kind of the way Baez refers to them as.
Yeah. Yep. And the maker threw his daughter from the tower, and then Baez was there when the maker died because he killed him.
So I think that Baez and the maker's daughter had a thing.
That is also my guess.
And he got mad that the maker killed her, and he went scorched earth and lit him on fire and threw him out a window. As one
Yeah.
does. So so
Yeah.
the flatheads
And
were
that-
invented by the maker.
Yeah. And then the last, we've talked about all the other things I had notes about. So.
Okay. I still have 2 more things.
Oh wait, no, I have one more thing. It's going back a little. Sorry, this chapter is all over the place.
That's fine.
The whole thing was all over the place.
It's a super long chapter. I don't remember.
Yes.
And there's multiple POVs. I don't remember what order things happened in.
Yeah. There's one point where Baez and Logan are like, well, Baez tells them to stay put, all of them, and then he goes into this room, and Logan decides that must not apply to him, and follows him into the room, which is fine, because it turns out that Baez needed help carrying this box. But when they're in the room, Logan almost touches this other thing that's in the room. That's like, I don't know why he's drawn to it, but he is. And Baez slaps his hand away before he touches it and calls it the divider. And I was like, is this an A-bomb? Like the way...
Oh, like dividing an atom?
Yeah. Yeah, the way Baez talked, he was like, if he was, I don't know how this works, but if we set it off, everything will be destroyed. And I was like, that sounds like an A-bomb.
Yeah. So,
which is wild.
And that's what I had in my notes too. There's like, they walk into this room. It's like what, it seemed like that's what they came there for, what Baez came there for. Mm-hmm. There was this heavy box, which I think must be the seed. Because later on, I forget if it was Jezzel or Logan, one of them was talking to him and he said that like some quote about like the seeds of the future, or like the future is planted with the seeds of the past, and Baez is like, oh yes, wise man said those words. This is like right after he handed him the box. And so it seems to me...
But he also says he doesn't know that there's nothing in the box.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to know yet, like what the deal really is with this seed thing, but I think the box has something to do with it.
We're going to come back to the seed conversation later. But
also there was this tube, I had tube weapon ? Because it was described as like having a bunch of tubes, like it's shaped like an axe, but it's made out of tubes. So I was like, trombone, French horn on a stick.
French horn on a stick. Oh my gosh, I freaking love that. Why does a French horn need to be on a stick?
So you can hit people with it. Duh. It's a weapon. It's the great divider.
No, tuba on a stick.
You need like a railroad tie. Yeah, that's something else. So yeah, that's the House of the Maker. Oh, and they like come out of it.
Oh, I have one more thing.
They come out of the House of the Maker, and the person who's like the guard is like, "Oh, I'm not even finished with my eggs yet. You guys, how was your visit?" And Glocta's like, "Half your eggs? Oh, more like half the day. We're in there for so long." He's like, "No, it's totally like half an hour." So.
And then he's even more disturbed.
Yeah.
The whole thing has got Glocta like super on edge.
He's wigged out.
But one of the last things in the chapter is that Baez says that Glocta may be the only honest man left in the Union.
Wow.
Which just is wild to me. Because my impression of Glocta wasn't necessarily that he was honest, but...
I mean, I don't know if we...
But I think...
He seems pretty genuine with who he seems like he's...
I know, but like when he's when he's like interrogating people, I feel like he's coercing responses. You know, he's not... He doesn't really care if they tell him the truth as long as it's an answer that gets him somewhere.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem very honest. But...
He cares more about the truth than his boss does.
Yes. He is very invested in learning the truth. And understanding it.
Yes.
So... Yes, agreed.
So that, I think, wraps it up for the House of the Maker. Next, we have Nobody's Dog, which, here's my notes for Nobody's Dog. You ready? Major West POV, followed by, all caps, "No! I'm so sad. Ugh. I hate this." That's my notes. That's my notes for this chapter.
That's all you got?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so there's 2 parts to this chapter.
Yeah.
The first part, he gets called to the gate to deal with the situation, which he's super annoyed about because he's got like work to do. And it turns out that there's a woman at the gate, and she looks very intense. Like his description of her, I'm like, whoa! If this isn't Ferro, I'm gonna be shocked that we have another crazy intense. And by crazy intense, I mean crazy describing the intensity.
Yes.
Because I don't think Ferro is crazy.
Well, she's a little racist, so.
She's well, okay. Those are not synonyms. What I mean is that she is very intense to a extreme amount.
Yeah, she's a lot. She's a lot.
Yes. But okay, so I had like this quote written down because it cracked me up. He's like talking about her eyes, like he's so taken by her eyes. He goes, they're deep, rich, golden eyes, like, and then there's a pause, and he says, piss.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then apparently it goes on to explain that she reeks like pee.
Yeah.
So.
Because she probably hasn't bathed in like
what?
weeks.
Right. So Ferro and Yahweh. Yeah.
Yulway.
Yahweh. Thank you. I was like, Yahweh is not right.
No.
Yahweh.
Wrong book.
Yeah, very. Show up in the Union.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought that they were still a ways away, but
no, apparently not.
That's fine.
It is fine. I'm actually kind of glad that we're all together all of a sudden.
What's another POV to throw into a chapter? Next, we're going to have a chapter that's split between all 4 of them.
Yeah, I won't love that, but whatever. And the issue that they're having at the gate is that they have asked them to give up their weapons. And Ferro, of course, is super not chill with that request. Yeah. But once Yulwei like shows Ferro that West is also against the Gurkish, she eases up a little bit. And he gets them in and whatever. That's taken care of. Like this whole time he's being described as having a headache.
Yeah.
Like he has this pounding headache.
Stress headache.
Yeah. And then he tries to go and get, I don't really know what he's trying to do. Trying to get some stuff ordered.
Yeah, he's hating life right now. He shows up at the smith because they're like, we need more weapons.
That's what it was.
All these people are showing up and they're not armed, and we're about to go to war with all of these levies that don't have weapons. You need to fire the forges back up and get to work. And the guy's like, nope, we've hit our quota for the day. I'm not going to do anything. And West is like talking about how he's had to like maneuver around this guy because they're the same rank. So he can't like boss him around. But at the same time, it's like he needs the weapons. So
yeah. Well, and the reason this guy is being so obstinate is that West has like no bloodline.
Yeah. He's a dirty...
It's that ongoing issue.
He's a dirty poor. Is basically what this is. So West eventually gets what he wants because the guy makes the mistake of insulting Artie. And he's like, oh, you and your filthy... no bloodline, you stupid peasant commoner. Oh, and your sister. Oh, I've heard things about her. And West is just like, what? What'd you hear? And like gets all up in this guy's face, and he's about to throw some hands at this guy, and doesn't. But he does get the guy to get back to work and start making stuff for him again. But
yeah, and then the chapter ends, and we go to chapter 40. Each man worships himself.
Love it.
No, that's not where the chapter ends.
Yeah,
I wish
that's where it ends. That's where it ends.
Okay, no, this chapter makes me so sad. Because I loved West.
Yeah.
Like, he was my favorite.
So...
And now I'm like, oh, your favorite is problematic.
So this part basically just goes to show that everybody in this book has a flaw. We thought that West was safe, but negative. So he shows up at home... Artie's day
Still
drinking.
Not feeling well. Oh my gosh, she's like, yeah.
Like, she's also problematic, but I mean,
Oh,
she
for
does not
sure.
deserve what's about to happen. But she's
No.
also problematic. She's day drinking. She hates her life. He hates his life. It's a bad situation for everyone. But West has anger issues, which I didn't really realize so much until now, that he is like constantly trying to keep his anger issues in check. Like even when he tells Jezzel to stay away from his sister, he like grabs him and like lifts him off the ground. Like we've had glimpses of things, but never to the extent of what's about to happen, because already basically, what does she say exactly? She says something that just like sets him off like no other.
I don't remember. I was so shocked
Yeah.
by the chapter. I don't really remember specifics
Something to the
of like.
to the effect of like, why am I here? I hate this. This is stupid. Oh, sorry, no, it's because Wes
Well,
saw the note on the desk, and
yes, he
it's
sees a note that she's writing for
yeah,
Jezzel to meet her
yes,
at night. And that sets him off because of her past and how he's trying to protect her, and how can he protect her if she's going to ruin herself for
and
herself.
I think part of it also is that he has been spending so much energy trying to defend her in front of other people. Like first, I don't know why everyone is like talking about Artie, like the people that don't even know her, like she's super promiscuous. Like even when it was Jezzel and in that group of friends, like Jezzel had to step up and defend her because people started talking about her, and then West has had to do that now too with this stupid major guy with the forges and stuff. And so he comes home, sees the note on the desk, puts two and two together, figures out that Artie and Jezzel are seeing each other, and I think in his mind he was like, "Oh, so lack of a better word, because he uses this word, he's like, "Oh, you are a whore." I think that's kind of what snapped in his head and set him off. He's like, "Oh, so you are behaving that way? Why have I been spending so much time and energy trying to like protect your or defend your honor, and when I shouldn't have been, because you're sleeping around with Jezzel when I told him to stay away from you." But and he's like, "I told him to stay away from you, but I guess it doesn't matter if you're the one like trying to come on to him, because I know that he's gonna cave in and do it, because you know, huh, boys will be boys." But yeah, there's
Yeah, there's a lot to
a
unpack there.
lot of problematic stuff that happens with West in this chapter, and he goes nuts and basically like physically assaults Artie, like throws her around.
He almost kills
Yeah,
her
he like ragdoll.
before he snaps out
Yeah,
of it.
he ragdolled her, threw her into the wall, and almost choked her to death. And I was so hoping for him to like wake up and it be a nightmare, because like he even says that too. He was hoping that he would wake up and it would be a nightmare, and then it wasn't. I'm like, you seriously just did that? You? Oh my gosh.
Here's what I had written down. So Wes has a pounding headache. ... Is he going to die?
Yeah.
Like I thought that he had been like poisoned or something because he was behaving so angrily the whole chat. Like the whole chapter, he's just like he's super irritated that he has to go to the gate and he can't get his stuff done. He's super irritated that the forges has that spat, and then he gets home and he sees Artie day drinking, but he doesn't like recognize that it's Artie right away. Like she's not immediately a named person in the scene. And so I was like, what is going on with this dude? And then when the stuff with Artie started to like really ratchet up, I was like, this isn't Artie. It's got to be the Eater pretending to be Artie, like goading him on. That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Yeah. As far as we know, I mean, maybe it was.
No,
No,
it
it wasn't the
wasn't.
Eater.
So then when he like snaps out of it and he's like trying to be apologetic, he's like, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened." And she goes, "You're behaving just like him."
Him being.
And then we find out
Yeah.
that their father was super abusive and did this kind of stuff all the time. And that he has been trying to not be like his father
which is super sad. And it's like,
Yeah.
because I know that because we have seen through everything that's been presented so far in the book that West is like a good person and he tries. But I feel like he everyone needs therapy in this book once again.
Oh my.
Like
Yes. Yes.
he has experienced trauma in his youth, and those are the kind of behaviors that he was exposed to as a young boy, for like how men that age, the age that he probably is now, should behave. And like subconsciously, I think he's slipping into habits that he never wanted to have. And I think they probably just have a family history of anger issues. And can that be a genetic thing? Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but
I don't know that it's genetic, but I know that like generational trauma is a very real thing.
yeah,
And I think that that is what West and Artie
are dealing with.
are dealing with here. Yeah.
So it's heartbreaking because
Yeah. I mostly was just like, ugh, why? Why can't one character be okay? None of them are okay.
I'm heartbroken for Artie because she is just stuck with a guy who is still going to do the same stuff that their dad did. I'm heartbroken for West because he doesn't want to be that way, but he has moments where he snaps and is anyway, and he hates himself for it, which just adds to it's like more fuel on the fire of him being angry because now he's just angry at himself. And he hates that he's about to go to war and leave because that's what a note to leave things on with his sister. He just is not in a good place right now, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
A lot of depth to like, because before it was just like, oh, it's your good guy Major West, like, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, and there's the character depth, there's the flaw, there it is, the other shoe dropped.
Yep. Yep.
And I hate it.
Almost at the end of the book.
And I
There
hate it.
Yeah, me too.
Ugh.
Me too.
So, that's Nobody's Dog.
Yep. And then chapter 40, each man worships himself. This is a Ferro chapter.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's... So Ferro and Yulwei are visiting Baez and his troop in their rooms. And Kwai is skinny pink.
Yep.
Logan is big ugly pink. And Baez is bald pink. Which I think is very funny.
Did Glocta get one?
She hasn't seen Glocta yet.
Oh, Glocta and Jezel weren't there anymore. Yeah, never mind.
No. It's just... Well, at first I thought she was talking about Jezel. Or not Jezel. Glocta when she's describing, like,
I thought
Logan. Because I forget that Logan is so jacked up in the face.
Yeah.
So she's describing, like, this deformed, very ugly pink. And I think it's Glocta.
Yeah.
And then we find out that Glocta's not anywhere near this. And it's, in fact, Logan she's talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And we're once again reminded that she hates everything. She hates gardens and she hates cities because they are luxury. And she hates soft furniture and soft things because they make you soft. And I'm just going to list the things that she hates. What else do I have written down? She hates priests, even though she's super religious. She hates priests. So Brother Longfoot looks like a priest, so she automatically does not like him.
For those of you who are reading along, I was so taken aback when he just walks up and talks to her, and when she tells him off, I was so just like,
she calls him the C word.
Yeah.
And tells him to shut up.
Yeah.
And he does.
Shut
He's
it,
like,
bleep.
Okay. And then he walks away.
Like, because he's so talkative and he just like talks. He's just like word vomits all over everybody. And it reminded me of Anne Bonny from Black Sails. Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Agreed. So yeah, those are the things she hates. Now back to the top.
Hateful person.
She really is. She's super unhappy. And she like can't understand half of what's said because they're like when Logan and Kwai talk to each other, she can't understand them because they're speaking Northern and she has no idea. We find out that she's colorblind or that she doesn't see colors at all, which doesn't make sense because she knows that the white people are pinks. So I'm a little confused about that.
Well, colorblind, sometimes it's not like all you see is black and white, right?
No. Yeah, no, I know. But so my first thing is she's colorblind, question mark, because Baez shows her the 2 rocks and asks her to, or 3 rocks and asks her to tell him which one is blue. And she points to one, and then Logan's like, I don't get it, they're
both red, like something like that.
Right. They're all the wrong color. And then Baez asks her, you don't see colors at all, do you? And she like doesn't respond. So
Well,
I'm like,
no, she does.
wait.
She does respond. She punches him in the face and like breaks his nose.
Yeah, she attacks him. She doesn't verbally respond. And then Logan's like about to intervene, and she's so excited. She's like, "Yeah, I'm finally gonna see the measure of this dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna know how tough he is." And then Baez diffuses the situation. It's like, "I knew I liked you."
No, we good. Ease off, Logan. She checks out.
And then you always like, "These are our friends." And she's like, I don't think so. They might be your friends. They're not my friends. I don't like them.
Baez does kind of convince her to like him. Well, not to like him, but to...
Not like him. At least trust him.
Or to help him or to go along with what he says.
Yes.
Because he's like, okay, you don't like the Gurkish, right? Well, if you come along with me, it will severely...
hurt the
Gurkish Empire and their emperor that you hate, because he basically just totally pins her with like the logic of, oh, so you were a slave and you hate them, you want to kill them, you probably wouldn't be satisfied, your vengeance wouldn't be satisfied unless you killed every single Gurkish person on the planet, and you want to kill the emperor and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah, you get it. Let's go do it.
He's like, well...
She's like, this guy gets me. It's so funny.
Yes.
Yes. Then he's like, well, indirectly, you'll be really screwing them over if you help me. So she's like, oh, okay. I guess.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly.
Yes. And then Yulwei and Baez are like, we need to have a like private conversation. You guys need to leave.
Yeah.
So sends them out. Logan and Kwai are talking to each other, and then they like leave Ferro alone, which is when we get the funny like Brother Longfoot interaction.
Yeah.
Before she makes him leave. And then she basically eavesdrops on Baez and Yulwei's conversation. And we learn that the eaters are made. And there's only about 200 of them. And the older they are, the more dangerous they are, which we already kind of knew. And we also find out the one that's in the Union capital is probably pretty old because she's pretty intense.
Also, you said only 200, but I got the impression from the way they were talking that 200 is a huge number to them. Like
I have a squiggly line, so approximately 200 or more.
Yeah, and I think Baez is kind of like, ooh, I'm going to have to move up my timetable on some of my plans here, because apparently they are growing in numbers faster than he expected.
Okay, yeah. I mean, 200 doesn't sound like that many to me.
I mean, 200 vampires.
Less than my high school class, but that's still less than my class. In the whole world?
I mean, their whole world, in quotation marks, isn't quite to like 7 billion people.
But no, I know it's much smaller than our world. But
yeah.
But like,
yeah.
Still,
fairly rare.
200 is not a huge number.
If they're all
It
together,
is a dangerous
yeah.
number.
If that's enough to be like organized and like mess some stuff up.
Yes.
But
yes.
oh, and the Gurkish are like kind of responsible for making them, right? Like it's their priesthood or something. Like they're kidnapping. It's like a cult. Like they're kidnapping people and making them become eaters. So
Yeah, which tracks with what we saw earlier.
because the eaters were trying to capture Ferro in the Gurkish Empire.
Right. Well, and Yulwei tells Baez that she's already fought 2 eaters. And he's like, well, how'd she do? And he goes, oh, she did pretty well. And then they talk about how quickly she heals.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It seems unnatural how fast she can heal herself.
Yes. I have this quote written down: "The tellers of secrets are always listening." But I'm not sure what that's in. I think that's just like
The tellers of secrets are always. I remember reading that and I was like, huh. I bet that comes up again later. Moving
very
on.
ominous.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I wrote it down. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. They want Ferro to bear the seed.
Yeah. What is that?
Now,
It sounds gross.
It does. I will just say that a lot of times in fantasy, when there's like reference to seed,
Where are we going with this,
it's
Hannah?
usually, I'm going exactly where you think I'm going with this. It's usually biological
Yeah.
and something that happens between a man and a woman.
The sprouting of a family tree. From the
So
seed. Ugh. That's
I'm a
so
little
gross.
bothered. I'm a little bothered
Ugh.
by the potential of what this could mean. We still don't know, but I'm like, oh, this is getting in a gross
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
I don't love it. Because she is a child. Honestly. She's not very
I
old.
was gonna say, do we know how old she is?
I think we had a comment mention that she was like a teenager.
Well, she's not like 13 was how old that girl was that she tried to rescue or wanted to rescue. So she's older than that girl.
Yeah, I don't know that she's much older than the girl.
Maybe she's like 16, 17, you know? Late teens, early 20s at the absolute latest. I think she's younger than Jezel. But, yeah, I don't know if we ever had an age confirmed, but that's maybe a Google question. I'm sure there's a wiki. There's got to be a First Law Trilogy wiki.
I mean, look, maybe she's, I don't know. I think she's a child.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It would be gross regardless because would be
It's still like
non-consensual.
like obligate, like you're obligated to carry this seed. Like, okay, 1, what does that mean? And 2, I hope it doesn't mean what it kind of sounds like. Gross.
Right. If it means that these older than dirt men are going to put a baby in her, I don't really care how it happens at all.
Yeah.
It's
Gross.
wrong and gross.
Super gross.
Like even if it's by magic, I don't love it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't know. Maybe it's fine.
I don't know, but I don't think it's going to be fine. I don't think we're going to find out in this book,
Ugh.
which is a little annoying.
Well, I don't know. We might. We'll see.
There's only 4 chapters left.
Yeah, we'll see.
The last thing I have written down here, each man worships himself, which is the name of the title
Yeah.
of the chapter.
Yeah.
And this is Baez. Oh, it's because I remember. It's because she's like, all these men, everyone here is godless. Everyone here is like, they don't worship anything. And Baez goes, oh no, you're very wrong.
Yulwei says this.
Is it Yulwei?
Yeah, because it's at the very end when he's trying to get her
So it's after,
to like trust Baez, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't tell you to to trust him, but just do what he says, basically.
Oh, that's right, because he's telling her that he's going to leave her with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he tells her that he's going to leave her with them, and she's not thrilled about that because they're godless heathens.
Yeah.
And that's when he says, "Haven't you noticed? There's gods all over the place here." And she's confused, and he goes, "They all worship themselves."
This is America.
I didn't know Childish Gambino was in this book.
Oh gosh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Man, every time they're like taking jabs at like the socio-political like climate of the union, I'm just like, oh guys, it's too real.
Of the union?
It's
the union?
It's too real.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like the author is using political commentary in his fantasy book to like bring attention to certain political and societal issues. What? It's almost like there's some merit to fantasy after all.
Oh my gosh, don't even get me started.
Take that, litfic.
Yeah. The next chapter, chapter 41, Old Friends. Another pretty heart-wrenching chapter, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, but I also have to say this is one of my favorite chapters.
Oh, I agree.
And it's so short.
It's so short, but we finally get some like conflict resolution that we didn't know we needed.
I know. It was so good.
So this is a Galacta chapter, which are not usually my favorite because they usually involve extreme torture.
Yeah.
But this one didn't.
Torture of himself or others.
Right. He gets a visitor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Major West.
Yep.
And he is wanting advice on how to deal, quotes, with Artie.
Mm-hmm.
Which Galacta's like, why would I help you? Why do you want to be friends all of a sudden? Get out of my rooms. We are not friends.
He's like, you never came to see me after I got back, and when I was tortured and stuff, you never came to see me. We hadn't seen each other for like 9 years. We only randomly saw each other like a few nights ago. Like, why are you here acting like we're friends again? And like kicks him out and like spits at him.
Right. And West is like fully going to leave until Galacta says, you never came to visit me after I got back. Yeah. And that's when West goes, wait, she didn't tell you? And we find out that Galacta's mother would not let Major West visit him. Mm-hmm. Because she did not like Major West because he's a dirty poor.
He's a peasant.
And West is like, I came to visit you. She said you weren't up for visitors. I came again. She wouldn't let me in. And he like did something else. Did he send something?
Yeah, I don't know. But basically...
I don't remember. It got intercepted. And Galacta's like, my mother, all along.
Yep.
And he instantly is like, okay, come back in here. What's going on?
Yeah.
We can be friends again.
Because he's like examining West this whole time before then. He can like tell that West is not in a good place mentally.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they kind of have that moment of like, oh, because it was so sad too, because Galacta was like, I thought at least you would have come to see me, because I knew that all of the other people that I knew were only pretended to be friends with me so long as I could do something for them because of my station in my position. But I knew that if I stopped being beneficial to them, that they would stop like interacting with me. But I thought that at least you would show up, because I thought that our friendship was genuine. And so I was just like, oh, Galacta, you're super sad that your friend didn't come see you after you got tortured almost to death.
And like, we're ruined.
And
yeah.
And then they kind of made up, because West was like, hey, your mom didn't let me see you. So then, yeah, like you said, they go back and they actually start talking, and West is like, I need you to help me with Artie. Can you please look after her while I'm off at war in the Russian front. I mean, the Northern Front, and um, please look after her. And I don't know what to do. And
And then he just starts
yeah,
weeping.
Major West is weeping, and then Galacta pats him on the shoulder and goes, there, that's not like you. Come on, it's in the past. Don't worry about it, man. It'll be fine. Like it's like I haven't.
And he's like, no, I screwed up. I screwed up big time.
And Galacta's like, is this who I am now? Am I the comforter of crying men? Like this is so bizarre. Me, Inquisitor Galacta, patting a crying man on the back.
Yeah.
But then he said that like
It's actually a pretty sweet chapter.
it is, and Galacta's talking about how like he almost cried too, like he almost had a tear in his eye, and just like, oh, you guys just need to be friends. I think both of you guys really missed each other's friendship, and you would both be better people right now had you kept being friends. And it's all Galacta's mom's fault. So
That lady.
Artie might not have gotten beaten up by her brother if Galacta's mom had let Major West. Okay, that might be a stretch.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that they would both be in better mental places had they been allowed to see each other and could have still been friends. But anyway, that's where we're at. So they're friends again, and it's lovely.
Yeah.
Galacta
Just in time for West to go off to the Northern Front and die.
probably die.
A horrible death.
Yeah. By Shanka or something, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I don't know how long Galacta's going to be in town. I kind of feel like he's going to get swept away with
Bayaz and
Bayaz
company.
and his crew.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's possible.
I kind of feel like he's not going to be around a whole long time. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
But yeah,
We will see.
so I really Major West's whole thing is I feel icky, and this is not what I needed after that last Critical Role episode. Okay, this is
So true. Oh my gosh. We can't even talk about
no,
that
we
here.
can't. We'll talk about it in the next podcast episode. But I'm just saying, I am so sad.
Agreed.
But so sad. So I really hope that West can like make amends and redeem himself in a way that's like satisfying, and that Artie is safe, and that I don't know. It's really hairy. That's a really tricky situation they've got themselves into. Joe. Joe Abercrombie.
You know what I loved? You know what I loved about this section? We had very little Jezel.
Yeah.
We didn't have to talk about him hardly at all.
He only had a couple little blurbs in that House of the Maker chapter.
And it was mostly him being a dummy and then being sick.
Oh no. Is Jezel gonna find out that Artie got beat up by West and like try to fight West and like duel him before he leaves? Is he gonna be like, how dare you attack Artie and like try to kill West, and they're gonna have to fight each other? No.
This was not something I was envisioning.
Because he definitely left marks on her.
He definitely did. And Jezel has already discovered that he is now stronger and better than West. In a duel.
Yeah, like he's a better fencer than West is, so he would win for sure. I don't think West would even fight him now. I'm pretty sure West would like just stab me. I deserve it.
Let me die. Let me go.
I deserve it. Just stab me.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to go to counseling and get help. Everyone needs mental health help in this book.
Starting with Joe Abercrombie.
No.
No.
I mean, maybe. So, one more section to read, and then we're done with the book.
Yeah, so read to the end.
Yep, just read it all the way through, and we'll see.
There's only 4 chapters
left. We'll
left.
see at the end.
So.
I feel like now is as good a time as any then to mention that the poll is still live, right? For voting?
Yeah.
So
it is.
For those of
we have a vote.
Right. Oh, sweet. So for those of you who are unaware, we do have a Patreon now. And we should probably start mentioning this at the beginning of episodes, but I keep forgetting. Check out our Patreon if you're interested. It is live now. There's a link in the description. And there are 2 tiers. Both tiers will get you voting rights, so you can vote for the next book that we read. And that poll is live right now, so go check it out. And we'll see what the people decide.
Yeah, you do have to be a member of our Patreon to vote, but just so you're aware, so that you can decide if you, maybe this will motivate you.
Yeah.
But the 4 books to vote on are The Light of the Midnight Stars by Rena Rossner. We also have... Joseph cut out the dead space while I look at my bookshelf to remind myself which one it is. We have Uprooted by Naomi Novik and Song of Wraiths and Ruin by, oh my gosh, last name is Brown.
You talked about that one before. Have you read that one already?
I have. I started it. I didn't finish it. I paused on it because I thought it would be good for this. Yeah. I think it's Roseanne Brown. Let me look it up. Yes, by Roseanne Brown. The 4th book is For the Wolf by Hannah Witton. So we've got 4 fantasies by 4 female authors of varying... actually, the only one that has a lot of titles under her belt is Naomi Novik. The other 3 are all fairly new authors. So,
supporting the breakout authors. Like it.
Yes, that's what I thought. So, you can vote on one of those titles if you become a member of our Patreon. So,
awesome.
Otherwise, you just get to participate.
Love it.
When the read along happens. So, yes.
Awesome. All right. So go check out the Patreon and become a patron to get voting rights and help support us so we can keep doing what we like to do. And so go finish the blade itself in the meantime.
Yes. Wrap it up.
Yeah.
So.
But until then, happy reading.
And we'll talk at you next time.
Later.
Bye.